Oh, hey! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Graphic Glow Up. I'm super excited for today. My name is VooDoo Val, and I'm going to be your host this morning. Morning for me. I'm in Northern California, so it's morning here. It's about 9:30 in the morning. And I'm really pumped to jump into this show. This is a new show that I do here on Adobe Live, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. But first, I have some housekeeping points, and I also, let me know if the music is too loud. I'm going to crank it down just a little bit. It's loud in my headphones, but it might not be super loud for you. Again, my name is VooDoo Val, and if you are over on the YouTube channel, please come over to behance.net because that is where I'm going to be reading the chat. People like Crystal are over here. General Kenobi, hello there. It's good to see you. Andreas, Clever, Sean, Cody, Annika, Angela. It's good to see all of my friends here in the chat. You're liking the Val hair? It takes a long time to make all of this happen, and a lot of you folks are regulars, so you've kind of been here to experience the journey of the long Val hair. It is getting kind of crazy. But yes, I do let the beast out every once in a while, and today I happen to have enough time to tame it, so the Val hair is here. And yes, all the halftones happening in the background. So what is Graphic Glow Up? Graphic Glow Up is kind of a creative show where you folks can come and participate in some cool projects and things with me. And this is also, I'm really excited about being able to do this because it is also a really great opportunity for you folks to come in and maybe gain some confidence when it comes to creating your work. I'm going to dive in real quick and show you how we set our goals for this show, how we win achievements for this show, and all that good stuff. So let me pop over here to my goals page. All right, let me pop over here. All right, so if you folks, I actually have a link for you. Let me dig that up right quick because it is actually I think I sent it over Slack, so I will snag that in just a moment. But basically, you folks will be able to download this goals page, and you'll also be able to download this wonderful achievements page so that you folks can earn achievements, earn points, and all that stuff throughout the show. What we're going to do today is we are going to follow our theme, which is magical packaging design for this week, and I'm going to set some personal, professional, and future goals so that I personally can keep my eye on the ball, make sure I'm sticking to the things that I want to aspire to in my creative journey, in my creative path, and all that good stuff. And I encourage you folks to download this goals page and make a page for yourself. This is something you can use when you join me for the show, but this is also something that you can use when you just work on your own personal projects. If you get a client gig and you'd like to use it for a client gig, feel free to do that. And I'm going to show you in a second how I use this. If you are somebody that can just set goals and keep them in your head, that's fine. But for me personally, sometimes when I sit down to do a project, even now, even when I've been working in this industry for years, sometimes it's hard for me to keep my eye on the ball, to stay focused and stay on target. And it's also hard for me sometimes to give myself the kudos that I deserve for the work that I create. I don't know about you, but I'm very self-conscious of my creative work. I always have been, and maybe I always will to some extent. So another thing that I have for you is the achievements page, which I mentioned. And last week I awarded myself some achievement points for all of these different categories here. And at the end of tomorrow's show, we are going to have an award ceremony, an achievement ceremony, and I'm going to show you how I award points to myself. But if you were here the last time we did the show, then you know that this achievements page here, this is not any sort of competition. This is not something that you try to earn more points than somebody else with. This is something that you can have, my gift to you, so that you can keep a visual representation close of all of the wonderful things that you do. And I've got a tip here at the bottom. It says you deserve to earn points when you try things for the first time and or when you create something that you are proud of. Get into the habit of appreciating the little moments, the little things, in which you grow, not just complete. Because I always feel like if I do something creative, but I don't have enough content or the ability to take that content and create an amazing case study on Behance, then I must not have done enough work. I must not have worked hard enough. I must not have created something worth anything. And maybe I don't feel like that every time, but I do still get that a lot. And so this is an exercise for me and for all of you, to kind of keep in mind that the work we do is valuable, even if we don't hit the mark. When you fail, you still learn what not to do, and completing a project 100% and making it look perfect, something you can put in a portfolio, that's not the only thing that matters when it comes to working creatively. So we are going to get into that a little more at the end of tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that you folks have this link real quick. Let me pop up here. I apologize for not digging that up. It's a new week for the show, and typically I always forget something. Cody, if you maybe want to dig it up, it would be in that Slack group that we had. I don't think it's in the new mods group. I think it's in the other one. You may have noticed me putting together all of those links and chit-chatting with Wade and Tim about sharing a library, so it would be that link if you are able to snag it for us. Such profound me gusta. I'm glad you think so. So as I said, today is magical packaging design. So what we are going to do is we're going to approach packaging design in a manner that can be fun and exciting. And I feel like there's no better kind of packaging to do if you want an adventure than to create an item that you might find in a video game inventory. Now, if you are not a video game person, that is totally fine. You do not have to be in order to participate in this. You can do a standard packaging design, choose any kind of project theme that you want, but I'm going to go off of like video games, and the first thing we do when we start out this show is we go hunting on Adobe's wonderful resource site. So I'm going to pop over here. Let me pull up my window. Basically, we are going to come in to our Adobe resource sites like Adobe Stock, Adobe Color, Adobe Fonts, all of these things. We're going to find at least one Adobe resource that we can use to theme our project around. Now, I've gone into the free section of Adobe Stock, and I have found this really great designer called Lucruck. And I've looked for food in this portfolio, and there's a bunch of really great inspiration here, which I think is really neat. But we can come into, I'm going to go back to free here. I'm going to exit out of portfolio, make sure that we're in free. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my eye on some of his work for inspiration, but I'm also just going to type food in the free section because I would like to, if I can, there we go. I'd like to download some vectors, some cool images that we might use in our actual design. I'm going to go ahead under subcategory and hit vector so I get the kind of work I'm looking for. I really kind of like these little food items. I think would work. I'm thinking about designing some kind of video game item that's like maybe a ham that you can eat. That is fun. I saw his work here in the free section, so I might actually license this and snag this. I think that's a Lambchop. Well, yes, it says Lambchop at the top. So I might snag this Lambchop and make like a game item that's like Lambchops in a box, something that might make somebody smile when they see it or laugh. So I think that'd be pretty good. But then I also want to find a color palette, and I'd like to do like some bright yet earthy colors. So I'm going to go into explore on color.adobe.com, and I'm just going to type in, honestly, I'm going to type in video game, and we're going to see what we got going on in here. This is actually cool. I don't know if you folks are League fans or if you folks watched Arcane, but I sure did, and I loved it. So this is kind of a cool image here. And I'm actually going to change my library to graphic glow up, if I can. Did that change it? Hello, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to my library real quick because I liked that. And I'll scroll through here and maybe find, this is kind of a cool one too. It's got like this bright salmon and this bright green, but it's got like some earthy tones there, so I might add that to my library as well. And maybe I'll find like 2 more. Honestly, this is cool. This is not really what I had in mind, but I like the image that accompanies it, and that's one of the really great things about using Adobe Color is you don't just go get colors, you can actually see a really interesting application of those colors, so I might add that one. And then this one's kind of cool too. These blues, I don't typically use blue like this, but maybe we'll get out of my comfort zone a little bit. And then I think lastly we'll add something like this. So this is all bright colors, but I think they work well together and it looks kind of video game-esque. So I'll go ahead and add that. So we've got inspiration, we've got colors, we've got, so let me go ahead and license this for free. I think we're going to probably open this up in Illustrator and snag that little Lambchop. So I'll click that and go ahead and open Illustrator. And then let's snag a font. And when we snag fonts, we are going to come over here into all fonts. And I'm going to use, if I pop myself over here on the right side of my screen, you can see we can kind of come through here and look at all of these fonts by tags, which is really fun to do. So I'm thinking I'm going to go into funky because I want something big and bold that I can make a really nice title with. Honestly, this would be cool. Juniper is something that I used in this most recent round of Daily Creative Challenges, and I do already have it, so we might go with Juniper. But let me peek through real quick and find something else. That's kind of interesting. Bira. I've never heard of this font before, but that one's cool. Maybe we download that one. I don't know. It's not really what I was thinking of when I was thinking of this project, but it's interesting. And then I also have Filmotype Maxwell, which is one of my favorite fun fonts, so we could use that one. And then we'll take one more quick peek through here at what we got. Jeopardy is cool, and I already have Jeopardy. Okay, so we've got some good ones to use. Jeopardy is actually the font that I used to design all of these overlays for this stream. So if anybody was taking a look at all of the cool stuff happening, that would be Jeopardy for like the Operation Magical Packaging design up at the top there, aka Dat Loot Dough. Maybe Art Deco font, that would be cool too. If you folks want to jump into, oh, thank you so much, Cody. If you folks want to jump into Adobe fonts and find some, you could suggest some to me as well. Okay, so we've got a bunch of assets and things. I have my Illustrator open. I'm going to bring Illustrator over here. So I opened that Lambchops up in Illustrator, and what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to select all of this, okay? And I'm going to hit Control-C to copy this, and then I'm going to pop back into Photoshop, and I'm going to go ahead and click Control-V, and I'm going to paste as layers because it will allow me to paste everything from that file in here, and they're all individual. See, it gives me like a little group. Let me pop myself back over to the left side of the screen. It gives me this little group which like literally has all of these different pieces in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a piece of the Lambchop, and I'm gonna find, the only thing that's difficult with this is that there's tons of pieces in this, and it can be really difficult to find what I'm looking for. So what I'm doing right now to make things easier on myself is I am just hiding and unhiding little elements until I find the topmost piece of this Lambchop. I'm still finding Lambchop pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the topmost Lambchop piece, and then I'm going to select the bottommost Lambchop piece and group them together. And at that point I should have the entire Lambchop only. I suppose I could have selected all the pieces individually in Illustrator, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not extra Illustrator savvy. Photoshop is my bread and butter, so I'm more comfortable kind of doing this stuff in Photoshop. All right, I think I'm coming to the top here. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is the topmost Lambchop piece, and I'm going to come down here and select maybe this. There's still Lambchop. Let me scroll all the way down here, and there we go. There's some bigger pieces. Let's scroll all the way down. I think we're coming to the end. Yep, okay. Let me get up past the fries. I think this would be our layer here, so I'm gonna hold Shift. Let me make sure I'm still on that. I'm gonna hold Shift and select that. So I selected everything in between. Now you can see I've got all of my Lambchop pieces, and I'm gonna hit Control G, and then I should have, boom, this entire Lambchop, and I'm gonna go ahead and drag this out above all of this, and I'm gonna get rid of everything else. So I'm just gonna select that group and delete. So now I have my Lambchop. I'm going to rename this to oops, I want caps. Lambchop. Boom. And I'm gonna convert this to a smart object. So I have my Lambchop. Ta-da! All right. $2. How are you streaming? I don't know. Anyone here play Fortnite? I haven't played Fortnite in a long time. I've played it before. Not really my kind of game, but I have played. I have indeed. Hey viewer, what's up? It's good to see you. Let me see how we're doing on time, because that took me a little bit to do, but not too terribly long. All right, so let's kick it into gear and let's get some content down on this canvas. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm going to use the assets that I found on Adobe's resource sites, and I'm going to sketch out in concept some cool game items. And tomorrow I'm going to have a mock-up that I have painted. I painted a mock-up instead of using just shapes and things, so it's kind of like a cool gamified mock-up for you folks to download, so that if you're creating designs with me today and tomorrow, you can place your designs into a video game item. Let's go ahead. I'm actually going to leave the Lambchop up there, and I'm also going to check in my libraries. Ta-da! Yes. So I've got my Lambchops. I found another salmon piece by him, which I saved just so I didn't forget the artist. And then I've got all of my different color palettes here. So there, I'm just going to close that for now, just making sure that I've got it. And I'm going to go ahead and hit B on my keyboard, make myself a new layer with Control Shift N or Command Shift N if you're working on a Mac. And I'm going to be able to sketch here. So what I'm thinking would be cool is if I did something like this, and we make ourselves like a cereal box kind of deal, which I know is weird, but I wanted to make sure that whatever kind of something we make here is kind of funny. Oh, which reminds me, we have to do our goals. So I'm going to say right now, my personal goal with this, I'm just gonna make sure I keep my eye on the ball here with this. I just want to say that I want to make an item that will make people laugh. That's one of my goals, and I might add some more goals throughout this today, but for now, I'm gonna go ahead and grab like Montserrat, so that I don't have like this big chunky font. I'll just type in M Montserrat medium, and I'm going to say make a design that will make people laugh. Okay, that's one of my goals. And I'm also going to say work with a limited palette. I hope I spelled palette right. I might not have. That might not be how you spell palette. It might be 2 L's and 1 T. I'm sure someone will tell me in the chat. Maybe, let me see. Is it? Correct my spelling. Correct my spelling, folks. So I want to say work with a limited palette. I might actually put this in professional goals, because I've had a client gig before, very, very early on in my creative career, and they wanted me to use a limited palette, and I did not do a good job. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did a really bad job on that client gig. It was one of my very first jobs I ever took. I was terrified. They sent me these colors that I was supposed to use, and I was completely at a loss as to how to make that work. It's something that I think back on that job and I think, oh my gosh, I can't believe how poorly I performed for that. And it's something I'm very self-conscious about. So I'm gonna say in my professional goals that I want to work with a limited palette, and then in my future goals, I'm going to say become more comfortable using assigned colors, because that I think would be a good future goal. So there's some goals. And I might add some to this, but for now, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a design that will make people laugh. I'm going to learn how to use a limited color palette, and I'm gonna become more comfortable doing so. Those are my goals for this. So I think it would be funny if we're making an item like packaging design for a game, so something you would see in an inventory, and typically when you see food items in a video game, it's something that you can eat to give you health, you know, to make your character stronger, maybe a level up or something like that. And I think it'd be funny if we just had like lamb chops in a box, because that sounds disgusting and why would you eat that? But I feel like for the context of this fictional game we're making this for, it's really imperative that you eat the lamb chop in a box because it's a very good item to have in this game. That's what we're gonna say. So I'm gonna merge all of these and I'm gonna come through, and this is just a sketch. This is just a quick sketch. So I'm gonna go ahead and just erase these. I just want to kind of concept this out and make myself a little makeshift box for now, and we'll get into the mock-up tomorrow. For those of you maybe wondering how I'm doing all these straight lines, what I'm doing is, if I make a new layer here, if I click, like if I tap someplace, as long as I don't tap again, I can hold shift and click anywhere on the canvas, and if I continue to hold shift and tap, it'll continue to make straight lines from where, you know, wherever that previous point was. So if you're interested in to do that, that is a great idea for making straight lines. You can also hold shift and just drag, and you'll be able to make straight lines that way. So how did you get the lines to be so straight? Boom, Elsa. There you go. I just explained it. What kind of mock-up did you paint, Val? It's gonna be like a video game box similar to this, but it's gonna have some of my painterly flair to it that matches like what you might see in a video game. So it's gonna be hyper stylized, so I couldn't just use an image mock-up that you would see normally. I had to spice it up for you guys. So I'm gonna round the corners of this, I think. Let me go ahead and merge this. I'm gonna round the corners. And I'm gonna bring this down, boom. And I'm gonna round this corner, and I'm just gonna put some little marks here just to remind myself that I want this to look rounded, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this. Just kind of round them a little bit, and I'll make it, you know, fancier. Honestly, it kind of looks like our graphic glow up little icon that I made. Just like this kind of 3D space 2D image, which is a lot of fun. So we are gonna have our lamb chop in a box, okay? And I think I'm gonna grab the lamb chop. I'm gonna drag this up here, and I'm gonna quickly kind of figure out how we would place this. We don't actually, for this packaging design, have to have everything within the borders of our box. I'm gonna try a version of that first, but we could have it like breaking the border if we wanted to in some way, which might be interesting. But for now, let's just kind of throw this here. We might even switch it around. Let's flip horizontal and see how that looks. Maybe turn that like this, make that larger, and throw that on our box. I also want to kind of fill this with some color, so I'm just going to, let's come in here and grab one of our colors here. By the way, whenever you add a color palette into your library that you can access through Photoshop from color.adobe.com, you get these images in here, but if you'll notice as I hover over all of these individual colors, I can actually click on them and they will change individually. Let me make sure I have my brush selected here. They will actually change the colors, and you can't see really because my camera is covering, my overlay covers that. But if I select like this light green, I can paint in green. If I select this dark blue, I can paint in that dark blue. So it's literally like I have a painter's palette over here, and I can just select at will instead of using them as images and sampling from them. So really great tip if you're looking to switch between your selected colors very easily. But I kind of want to try this red color, and I kind of want to try like a darker version of it. Like a deep rust color, you know? That's what I'm thinking. And I'm just gonna color this in. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this in here. And if you're not an illustrator, you can actually use the shape tool or the pen tool to kind of get your shapes in there if you like. And you can create an outline around that. So if I can just grab, also let me check the time. Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good on time. We still got half the stream left. How do you handle YouTube and Behance at one time? Well, I don't read the YouTube chat. I can't because it is a lot to handle, because a lot of these streams, we have our superhero Paco behind the scenes kind of helping us with production, but I run all of my broadcasts on my own. So I've got Streamlabs OBS open. I'm switching through every scene when I change my cameras and all that. I'm doing that myself. I've got the chat up. I've got YouTube up on the side just to make sure my stream signal is coming through properly. I'm illustrating. I've got music playing in my ears. I have Adobe Slack open just in case someone needs to send me a message. It's a lot to do at once. So I don't look at both chats. So I'm kind of just looking at Behance. Val spilling the secrets. Yeah, I'm just trying to be real with y'all. And also, I never miss an opportunity to give Paco and our wonderful Jacob props for all the excellent hard work they do here on Adobe Live, because they're fabulous gentlemen, and they do a lot of really awesome work with us here, and kind of make a lot of these streams come true. So we have them to thank. I'm gonna go ahead, and this might be a little messy, but I've grabbed that lighter red color, and I'm just gonna paint bucket in the lines that I drew, just so you know this whole box is red. I will unhide my Lambchop, and then I'm going to sketch around this. I'll group that together and just call that box. I'm gonna sketch around this, and I'm gonna start creating what this package will look like. So maybe I'll grab like this kind of yellowy white color. And one of the things from our inspiration and where we got our Lambchops is you can see there's like this element of like big chunky letters. There's kind of a shape behind our Lambchop, which I think is cool, and then smaller text on top, so it's all very layered. So for example, we could do something where, let me come over here. I'm gonna make a layer above our box shape. I'm gonna make like that a clipping mask, create clipping mask. And I'm gonna come in and just create like this burst graphic. And I don't know if we'll keep this, but it could be something cool just to have back here, you know, something to separate it from that background. So it's like, boom, it's a Lambchop in a box. So we can kind of go with some elements of this. And basically my process here is that I'm going to sketch out like some ideas of how this could look, and then once I come to what I think is a pretty good spot, you know, like where I'm like, you know what, I like this concept, I think this is a good idea, I think it looks good, then I will start cleaning things up with the pen tool, and really making this look neat, adding some textures into all of my shapes and make it look like a clean design. So we've got like this burst shape. We could even layer this if we wanted to. So if I make another layer underneath here, we could maybe grab an orange color, and we could come in here and make it look like there's just layers to how this burst works, I guess, just to add a little bit of pizzazz to it. There we go. And we could even do another color if we wanted. We could select this and maybe make an even brighter color and come in on top of this with another clipping mask. And we could do a little burst here just to add layers to it. Okay, so if you can, we're using our imaginations, but boom, there is kind of a burst effect. We can have underneath our burst, we could have text. So I'm gonna do some sketchy text stuff here. So that's the professional term for this, sketchy text stuff. And maybe we have like some kind of subtitle up here. We could, ooh, okay, how about this? With our font, we'll say like lamb chops, and then above everything here, what is this? Those are our lines. Above everything here, we can grab like this red color, or I don't know if the red color is gonna look good. I'm just gonna grab a black for now so we can see it. But so we can do lamb chops, and then here we can put like in a box. Oops, this needs to be above here. And then we can kind of paint bucket this in however we want. Maybe a white makes it more legible. No, it does not. Let's snag this color. This might work, and the only thing is it would need to have some kind of outline around it. So I'll actually duplicate that and grab that bottommost one, and let's hide this one on top. I'm gonna grab like maybe this red color, because that red color is not going to be there. I just kind of did that for the visual representation of the box, but I'm going to color these that color. We'll unhide this, and I'm going to free transform with Control or Command T, and I'm just going to bump this over just to give this like 3D, you know? And then maybe in the final version, I can make a clipping mask here. Maybe we can come in with like a gradient later. If I grab my brush, I'll just kind of blot this in with a soft round in my standard brushes. Maybe we grab like this yellow, and maybe there's some kind of gradient here that just adds a little bit more depth. And I don't think I would choose this color, but you know, just to kind of give it a little extra something. Maybe we try something like a different color than that though. Something more subtle. We could also do a darker color if we wanted to. Like maybe we just snag like this color from here, make it a little bit darker, and we could do like a dark color from the corner here. That looks a little more legible. And we could do another lighter outline around the top so that we have more readability from the top of the word box to the Lambchop. But I think that looks kind of cool. Lambchop's in a box. And we've got like, boom, the Lambchop. We've got the title of what it is. And then just as a little added sprinkle of something, I'm gonna take my brush and I'm going to kind of sketch out just some sketchy lines, because maybe there needs to be like nutritional facts on the side here. All right, there's always like a little table of something on boxes here, so I'll just sketch in that I want something like that. And then there's usually a barcode, so I'll just sketch in kind of a barcode sort of thing with some last minute information down at the bottom, little icons or something. And I'm actually going to make that darker. So I'm going to actually select this layer, and I'm going to lock the transparency. So when I lock transparency, I can paint anywhere I want on this layer, but it's only going to show up within the confines of whatever's already on the layer. So I can snag this orange color and I can come in here and just paint this to be a little bit darker. So it's not as bold as the stuff on the side. And I could even grab this brush here and we could add a little bit of that to the side just to give it some 3D. Maybe we'll even grab this and darken that up a little bit, just so it really looks like it's kind of popping out at you. And I think that's a pretty good concept. Happy Wednesday to you as well, George. Welcome in. I'm using Photoshop right now, Laws. Photoshop CC. Let me scroll through here. I like this. I really like this whole retro style. I'm pumped about it. New and improved. Just add water. Thick cut, gluten-free, grass-fed, low-fat, heart-healthy, flavor-enhanced, reduced sodium. I love this, and I'm gonna put this in our notes. This is from Clever Devlin. Let me copy that real quick. This is going in the notes for this project because I think that's great. Let me group all that together. I'm gonna grab this and throw it over here. And I am going to, with my text tool, I'm just gonna drag out a little box up here and control paste. So that from Clever Devlin. That is funny. And this is supposed to make people laugh. That's, you know, that's my my goal for the project, is that this has to be something that makes people laugh. So let's throw that in the corner up there, just so we don't lose track of that, because I might throw some of that in the design. And then what are we doing on time? We still have like 15 minutes, just a little over 15 minutes here. So I feel like we should try some of our other colors, right? So I'm going to duplicate. Let's maybe make this slightly smaller. I'm gonna duplicate this and throw this over here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna alter some of these colors. So we've got like a red and gold and orange box concept, but let's take a look at the colors that we have. And I think it would be neat to try like this Go Medieval one that we chose here. So we still have kind of bright colors. It could also be cool to do this, maybe this one, because I'm trying to think of, this is like akin to the idea of making new flavors of something. Like if you're doing packaging design for a client and they say, okay, yeah, that looks great, but now we need one in blueberry and lemon and strawberry and watermelon and peach and mango. You know, you kind of have to stick with that same design and change the colors up. So finding a color palette that translates a little bit better, even though I didn't make these color palettes myself, even though I guess I kind of altered it a little bit. I did use these two colors from here and then altered everything in between, but this one here, moving out, this actually looks like it has a lot of the same values as this. So I think we could translate pretty easily. So I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna call this, that first concept, we're gonna call that Chops 1, and we're gonna call this one Chops 2. And let's translate some colors real quick. So I'm gonna grab my paint bucket. And this is a quick tip. I've said this before, but just in case no one has heard, if you are doing something like this, like I am, where I'm like, I need to select all of these tiny individual parts of this group, but there's a lot of pieces and I don't want to hunt through each individual layer, you can always hold Control and you can just click, and you see it opens my layer panel over here, and I can click all of these little pieces and it will bring me to what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to, with my paint bucket, I'm gonna come over here and select this brown box. Make sure I have caps locks off. I'm gonna select the box itself. We might need a darker box, so we can stand to alter just a little bit. Maybe we find we could actually do like some brown from the pork chop itself. So let's find a darker version of this, just so it matches better. There we go. And then we'll snag this color maybe, and select our lines, and I'll just change our lines to that color. And then we'll do some green. Let's do some green in the starbursts here. So I'm going to select that. We'll select this bright green here. Boom, throw it in. We'll select this second layer here. We'll grab this color, see how that looks. And then we'll grab this darker color and select this orange and throw that orange in there. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if this works out, but we're just gonna go for it and see what happens. Let's select our lamb chops. We'll turn our lamb chops into this darker green. And maybe give it some gradients. Maybe it needs to be a little bit brighter, actually. We're just gonna throw it on there. Lamb chops in a box. Let's select our background color here. Grab our bright. And I'm just gonna, boom. We might need that to be a little darker. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna hide this gradient, and we're going to maybe snag this pink. I don't know how I feel about the pink there. I feel like that needs a gradient of some kind. Maybe we add some darker shades to this too. I'm gonna quickly select over here. I will, let's see. Oh, this is all on a locked transparency. So I'll grab my brush, and I'm gonna grab a dark color. I noticed that the lamb chop has this dark color in here that I think is kind of a purple. So maybe we incorporate that. I'm gonna go ahead and just scribble around in here. And then maybe the box is a darker version of this. Let's get a little wild. Let's experiment a little more. Select the box. I think that's too dark. Let's select this color. Boom. And then we'll select a darker color and make the side designs in that color. So let's snag this. Grab my brush, I'll grab my harder brush, and I'm gonna, there we go. We'll just put that in dark relief like so. Maybe these are in a dark color, or maybe the background, maybe the highlight, instead of it being a highlight, it could be dark. And then we can add some shading or highlight to in a box. That could be cool, maybe. I think we need to noodle around a little bit for sure with the colors that I chose 100%, but I think we're onto something. So we've got like a whole new design. Mint box, culinarily appropriate. Fallout up in here, yes. I'm kind of getting Fallout vibes as well. Let's see. She's altering the colors. Pray she doesn't alter them any further. Also, we've got maybe 10 minutes left, so let's see what else we can do. I've got a bunch of stuff, and I still have time tomorrow, but I'm thinking, like, what's the most effective use of our time? We could do another color alteration of it, but I don't know. I feel like we've got two pretty good ones, so maybe I'll add some gradient here. If I grab my soft round brush, oops, I need to make sure I have my B for brush, grab my soft round brush, and maybe I'll grab this color and make something darker. Let's select that, and I'm just gonna lock transparency on that, and I don't think it looks good with a shadow on that side. Let's try something brighter. Let's try to brighten this up instead. Brighter might look better. It adds a little bit of readability to this part that's like touching the lamb chop. I don't think it's the right color for the package, but we don't have to make that final decision right now. We can really solidify that tomorrow. I'm gonna come over here to this one too, and I'm gonna snag a much brighter color and throw a brighter color in here. Maybe something just a lot more saturated. Yeah, because I think that helps with the readability on this one. We might put another outline around it. I'm not sure, but I think that looks cool. I think we've got our Lambchop in there. We've got these concepted boxes. I think Lambchops in a box is ridiculous. I really do. Love the way you were teaching, Zareen. I'm glad that you're enjoying the show. Lamburger helper, yes. The Lamburglar. Green tea chops. Yeah, it's a special flavor, can only be found at Whole Foods. I can see this being used in Fallout show. Yeah, it kind of has like the Fallout vibes, which is perfect because the whole idea of the magical packaging design is that we're creating something like a funny item that you might see in a video game. So we've got our boxes. What we can do now is we can kind of concept out how we might present this, okay? So what I'm thinking is, let me go ahead and close these. Close chops 1 and close chops 2. I'm gonna hide this information from Clever real quick because we are gonna need a presentation of sorts. So let me go ahead and hide the chops. I think I only have, looks like we've got 8 minutes, which is well enough time to do this. So I am going to grab my brush and we're gonna figure out what's the coolest way to present this. Like if we were gonna present this to a client, how would we do this? And you could just, you know, have them lined up here. Boom, there it is. But since this is something that's supposed to go into an inventory, I feel like we should put it in an inventory. So what we can do is, I am gonna use, normally I'd use shapes for this, but I kind of want to be able to paint bucket stuff in. So I'm just gonna snag this marquee tool, and I'm gonna go ahead and just paint bucket in some colors here. Maybe I will grab, you know, some darker colors. Let's unhide our chops. I'll snag some of the colors from our chops. Let's grab this color. Boom. And then I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to hit Control U to open hue and saturation, and I'm just going to saturate this into like a reddish color. Hit OK, and I am going to make this a square because we're going to make some little inventory areas here. And this is not extra accurate, okay? We are just concepting. But I'm gonna, actually I think this needs to be darker. So let's bump the lightness down. So if you can imagine, if there's any gamers in the chat today, if you can imagine us just having like a little utility bar, you know, in a video game where you could cycle to this item, that would be kind of neat. So we're gonna make like a little makeshift utility bar. I'll snag all of these layers and just make that smaller there. Boom. And what we can do is we can take our chops. I'm gonna duplicate that and convert it to a smart object. And I'm gonna duplicate chops 2 and convert that to a smart object just so I have these two chops separate. I can hide our main images that we have here, and I'm gonna make these small, okay? And we can place them, you know. I feel like it would be cool if it kind of broke the borders of the little square we have, you know? So it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, perfect in there. Or we could put it like more solidly in the box, and then we could do something like this. Probably would look better with this one. So let's grab this. Let's make that small, throw that in there. And then what if we did something like this to present? Let's grab our circular elliptical marquee. Let's make a little circle, throw that in right there. grab our paint bucket tool. Let's grab like a red color and, oops, cancel. Make a new layer. I want like a brighter, boom. And then with my brush, we will Control D to deselect. I can grab like maybe this off-white color, and we can put, maybe I've got 12. Maybe I've got 12 of the green tea boxed chops, okay, in my inventory. And we can just throw like a bunch of different ones in there. And this could just be something we include with the larger images, you know, so we'll give them one that's like the big chops, and then show it in action. So we could have that. Another cool thing to include would be like, maybe we make a little icon. Let me grab something like this. Maybe we make an icon so there's like a player icon here. For example, you can grab this color and maybe we put a little game player profile right here. I can snag this color, deselect. Maybe I'll put a name right there. And then up here, we can have health and power up, you know, just to present this a little bit, you know, give it some pizzazz. So we'll have health. Let me grab our red, and we'll do like a health bar that's like this, you know, and then we can grab green, and maybe this is like stamina or something, just like kind of an interesting little module. So we'll make like a showcase with the mock-up from tomorrow, and then we'll create something like this. I do have just a couple minutes left before I have to take off, but you can see how like we're really starting to make like a full showcase for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge this into a group, just so I can keep it together. Oh, this needs to be in said group. Let's bump that together, boom. I'm gonna call this game concept. We're gonna flesh this out tomorrow because we do have one more show. But we've got like a little inventory, so we can have this, and then we will also have in the mock-up, we will have, you know, a little showcase of them large, so that, you know, your potential client can see like the work that you've done in the final clean versions. So we'll show that off. Let me group all of those. I'm gonna call this Big Chops. Big Chops. So we'll have Big Chops. We'll have a little game concept that's fun. I don't know, show things like in a little inventory. Do some cool stuff with that. Maybe there's some more like little powery up things around. I don't know. But I think this is kind of cool. Gives like an 80s retro vibe game style. Yeah, I think so too, Robert. I love seeing stuff like this come together. Not sure why, because it's kind of fun. It's fun, right? The show must go on tomorrow. Yes, indeed. So I'm excited. Let's see, we've got a minute left, so I do have to take off, but that's what I've got for you today, folks. Tune in tomorrow because we are gonna go over our goals yet again, which I feel like I met my goals today. I am working with a limited palette. I chose very specific colors to use for each design. I am becoming more comfortable using assigned colors, and I think I'm making a design that will make people laugh. I think it works. We'll go over our achievements tomorrow. We'll throw everything in a mock-up, but until then, it is time for me to say farewell. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you folks, and I will see you all tomorrow. Please stay tuned because we have more magic coming up today in the schedule, but adios for now.